All right. I'd like to call to order the December 14th, 2015 meeting of the Haymarket Planning Commission. Roll call, please.
Here.
Here?
Here.
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 All right, thank you. All right, this time I'd like everybody to stand. We'll pledge allegiance to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moment of silence, please. All right, thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing on the floodplain ordinance. If any citizen here would like to speak, reference the floodplain ordinance repeal, please come to the podium, state your name and address. All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Okay, minutes approval. Do I have a motion that we approve the minutes as stated here on page, will be page 2 through 4.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
All right, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, minutes approved. All right, citizens' time. Again, if any citizen would like to come to the podium, please state your name and address and anything you'd like to bring to the Planning Commission's attention. Mr. Passanella, do you have anything? All right, we will close citizens' time. Announcements. Does anybody have an announcement? No announcements? All right, moving on. All right, ARB and Town Council update. Do we have an update from the ARB?
No, sir. No updates.
All right. Town Council update, Planning Commission did the joint public hearing last week. I appreciate you all coming out. I know it's extra work this month, but I know the people that I've talked to about the Chick-fil-A and the sheets are very excited that it's actually going to come to fruition. And it's my understanding, Holly, that the bridge is set to open sometime later this month or beginning of January here on Old Carolina.
According to the update that I got from VDOT the day of the council meeting, yes, it is still scheduled to be open to traffic by the end of the year. They will still continue to do work on it, adding the shared use path, the decorative features, the lighting, and the final asphalt layer into the spring. But everything is saying that they're still going to have it open to traffic by the end of the year. And the good weather helps.
Yeah, 70-degree weather, absolutely. And then the only other thing, we as a council adopted a resolution in reference to Dominion Power and have sent that off to the proper folks. And I know myself and other council members are going around. My wife typed up a little flyer today. We're going to hit our neighborhood to try to make everybody aware of what potentially could be coming. All right, new business. If you'll turn to page 5 in your packet. We are proposing that we change our regularly scheduled monthly meeting beginning next month, January 2016, from Mondays to Wednesdays. This was Mrs. Carroll's idea, and I think it's a great idea. Give us a little bit more flexibility for travel on the weekends. So do we have any discussion on that? Actually, I guess we need a recommendation. A motion.
I move.
Mr. Chairman, I do need to offer that a new board is taking office at Loudoun County, which may affect their meeting schedule and may conflict with your proposed meeting dates. I would just ask that if it needs to be adjusted, I would agree with the commission, let's try Wednesday, but if it turns out it conflicts with my Loudoun schedule, I may have to ask that the PC look another date, either the second or the third Wednesday of the month.
Okay. I think we're all willing to work with that, as long as we can keep it on a Wednesday. I don't think there's anything, and this has to be the first.
Having made the trip today from Connecticut, I definitely opt for Wednesday.
Okay. All right, so do we have a motion that we change it?
I move that we change our regular meeting days to Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month, if that works for us.
Okay. All right.
I
We have a
second that motion.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so we will change it, and then, Marshawn, if you can give us advance time, then we can move it to maybe another Wednesday, as long as we can let the town's citizens know ahead of time.
Thank you. The first business meeting is January 6th, and that's when they'll set their schedule, and I'll report back and let you know.
Okay, and ours is scheduled for the 13th. All right, moving on. Floodplain ordinance zoning text amendment. If we could turn in our packet to page number 7. Actually, it begins on page 6. And Holly, if you'll just give us a quick update on the necessity of this. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You covered it last month, but just if you could refresh everybody, that'd be great.
Sure. We had our about 5-year review, compliance review with the DCR for our floodplain ordinance, and as a result of that meeting, they said that we have to update it to bring it up to the current standards and make some changes. And at the recommendation of the town attorney, we are going to move the floodplain ordinance out of the zoning section into a separate area of the town code. So the only recommendation that I need from the planning commission at this time is a recommendation to repeal the current floodplain ordinance.
And if you'll notice here, everybody got this handout. At the bottom, there are no changes to the firm floodplain insurance rate map. Therefore, there's no new or increased area of impact to property owners.
Correct.
Really, it's just moving it out and updating it per the state code and language, which we have to do anyway.
Oh, so the basis then, or the reason for the town's attorney having made this suggestion is simply to comply with state code, which we must do anyway.
No. On the handout I gave you is the reasons why the town attorney recommended changing it. We had the option to leave it in the zoning ordinance, but the town attorney recommended changing it. One is to putting it in a separate ordinance prevents any use that any illegal conditions are vested as a non-conforming use. It allows for quicker enforcement with the Class 1 misdemeanor penalties among the options. The BZA, he said, has no authority to hear appeals regarding the floodplain. And the criteria for granting a variance or special exception under the model ordinance do not match the criteria for a variance under the zoning code. And the purpose of the zoning control uses improvements and the model of the regulation is not perfectly compatible with the kinds of regulations in the model floodplain ordinance.
All right.
So we have the option of leaving in there, but it was his professional recommendation that we move it out for these reasons.
For these particular reasons.
For these particular reasons.
Okay.
That has no, so we were allowed to have, and that's why I originally had come to you, because I thought we would leave it where it was. But after consideration from the town attorney, we all said, yeah, let's go ahead and move it out.
Thank you.
Wasn't the genesis, too, that it had to be updated per state code? I thought we had discussed that before.
Yes, it had to be updated. That was because we had about every 5 years or so, the DCR, Department of Conservation and Recreation, will come out on behalf of FEMA and do a compliance review of our floodplain ordinance.
So we had to update it.
We had to update it anyhow.
But in the attorney looking at it, thus this recommendation, right?
Exactly,
Okay, I just want to make sure I was clear on that.
yes.
All right, any questions?
I was just going to say, for clarification, it's moving to the waterways section of the town code.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion that we adopt this? And
I move that
Or
the Planning
recommend.
Commission forward to the Town Council a recommendation to repeal Haymarket Town Code Article 15 floodplain ordinance, Sections 58-596 through 58-655 of the zoning ordinance.
all right, do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your work on this. All right, PC bylaws, we've looked at this for the last several meetings. If you'll turn to page 28. I'm going to let the town's attorney just kind of give us a quick overview and really what the main change is as it relates to the bylaws.
Did you want me to hit all the changes?
Well, just
Because
the main change on
Oh,
page
yeah,
28 that we've
the
talked
last
about.
main
Correct.
change, yeah, okay, very good. So, yeah, I think you all have previously seen the full red line versions of this, and this last round was just to put in the bylaws, the clarification that was in the last packet with the memo about interpretation of a quorum and how that's calculated when there's vacancies. And as a result of the memo that we drafted for you, and that we recommended some clarifying language to Article 8, and that language is now in the draft that's before you, so specifically in 8-2. But altogether, Article 8 provides that the presence of a quorum is necessary for a vote on any matter, and then 8-2 clarifies that a majority of the currently serving members shall constitute a quorum. Vacant seats are not counted as currently serving members. Notwithstanding the foregoing, for a quorum to exist, there must be at least 3 currently serving members present. And you'll recall that that provision was in there just to ensure that you don't have a situation where if you had many vacant seats, you would end up with, say, 2 people making decisions or acting. So that sets your minimum quorum number at 3. And then Section 8.3 comes right out of the state code, the exact language that you see in 8.3.
All right, we've looked this over for the last couple times. I know it's been written and rewritten. Does anybody have any?
I question on 916. I don't know why we have it in there if it's intentionally omitted. I think that perhaps should be just stricken.
I don't remember what it said, but the intentionally omitted was just to keep the numbering so you wouldn't have to change all the subsequent numbers.
Oh.
So basically, it's a placeholder, if you will.
Yeah, yes. It just prevents you from having to renumber everything that follows.
Well, the only thing we'd have to renumber would be Article 9, right?
Right, 917 through, well, really just, since that's a further breakdown, so you'd really only have to renumber 917 through 9111.
Right.
So,
Could I make the
Either way.
suggestion that we actually renumber them then, because it seems awkward to have an intentionally omitted item right in the middle of our order of business. It's almost like you're keeping something secret here.
Right, I would agree.
all right, yeah, I mean, that, that's sort of standard contract drafting where people know you're not keeping secret, but there's absolutely no reason you can't do that. So 917 would become 916, 918 becomes 917, 919 becomes 918, 9110 becomes 919, and 9-1-11 would become 9-1-10. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
That way it doesn't look like we're trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. All right.
I'll send you a clean one.
Okay.
Does that sound good? Would you like us to prepare a clean one with those numeric changes?
That would be good.
Will do.
Now, would that preclude us from adopting it if we all agree?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because this has been,
Right.
I just want to
You
keep
want to be
pushing
done
it
with it,
down
right.
the road.
Now, that's just a Scrivener change that I can make for you.
All right.
One other comment under 9.2. It says parliamentary procedure and commission meetings shall be governed by Robert's Rules of Order applicable to small boards. I just think that we should have at hand here someplace a copy of that. It doesn't have to be in the bylaws, it doesn't have to be mentioned, but I think just physically a copy in the building.
I believe the town manager has a copy.
We do have one here. We can make it available for you. There's also
Okay.
some cheat sheets
That's
that
great.
help you with basic motions and the like that we can get to you as well.
Yeah, that's what I operate on, is a cheat sheet,
Great.
because I got all up to speed on that. I'm all about the Clef Note version, because that book's about yay thick. Robert had a lot of rules. And I guess the overriding rule that everything's done decently and in order and in a good spirit, which I believe we're doing. So, all right, good comments. Is everybody comfortable with 8.1 through 8.3? I think it's a good change. It really seemed to be the sticking point back a couple months ago.
Yes.
All right, any other further discussion? All right, do I have a motion that we adopt this as written with the realization that the town's attorney is just going to strike 916 as listed and roll everything up there? There's 4 or 5 items. All right, do we have a motion that we adopt this?
I move that we adopt this as is with the notation that the town's attorney will renumber them appropriately.
All right, second?
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we've adopted new bylaws. All right, Marchant, Town Planner update, take us home.
Okay. Thank you very much. I apologize for being late. It was asked that I provide a summary list of development activities in the town. I apologize, that was not part of this month's update. But I'll try to do a quick one verbally. Mr. Chairman, have you already talked about the signed ordinance and the planned land use map for next month?
Yes, sir. Is this going to be a joint public hearing, correct?
Yes. The ads have been prepared. It's just a matter of meeting the paper deadlines, and so appreciate your patience on that. Already mentioned we got Chick-fil-A and Sheets taken care of. Thanks for your participation in that meeting. Just a couple of things to share with you real quick. Hariver property, we already talked about the Hariver property. Update on that?
We did not.
Okay. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, the Hariver property, the master plan will be brought to the council next month, more or less for adoption. That was based on the extensive review all of you participated in. There's a version electronically, but it's just the formal acceptance of the council of that plan. They've also asked or directive that we put up for sale the former police station, which we've already gotten several folks interested in perhaps relocating or repurposing that building. It's a good sign, but the ARB will be considering the master plan as a whole at their subsequent meeting in January as well. That would also include removing some of the outbuildings that are there today and also looking into some local groups that may be able to do something or repurpose the well house that was behind the police station. So that master plan also has a suggested phasing plan and also some preliminary numbers to aid the council and to start putting some or allocating some monies to make that happen in the near future. So we got that done. Zoning ordinance amendments. We've hired a consultant, or we have an on-call planning service that will go ahead and kick off, or has already kicked off, its rewrite of the zoning ordinance. It's quite outdated. It's a tool that we don't have, I think. It was a good tool for its time. It needs to be updated, and as soon as probably late spring, you're going to start seeing some drafts of that. With that will also be the comprehensive plan. You're looking at a planned land use map amendment next month, but this is the larger overall amendments to the plan to align with that new zoning ordinance, and again, that'll happen later next year. Villages Phase 2. These are the 5 houses along Blight Drive. Several of you have gotten calls about it. I've joked that it was a pool, and that seemed to get some legs, so we are not getting getting a pool there. That suspended operations while Dominion moves a power pole near Dogwood Park Drive and Blight Drive. So that's why you've seen it seeded. It was seeded with hay and others, and hopefully they're doing some work out there. But they intend just to do the site preparation, get the curb and gutter and sidewalks in, and come back later and build the 5 houses. If any of you have been down to the ice rink recently, that they are starting the second phase or the second rink. So there's going to be a little bit of a scramble with parking while they get that building up and running, but at least it's underway. And we expect Chick-fil-A will be moving as soon as the weather allows for breaking ground. Sheets may take a little bit longer. Okay. What else is there? Most of you are familiar with Dominion Power. They've submitted to the SEC a plan to do an above-ground power line extension on the north side of 66. There's a period of time that the SEC will take public comment, and I believe the council intends to provide some sort of formal position on that at the appropriate time, and also do some outreach in the community. The firehouse, the old firehouse complex, the council has been in talks with the owner of that property to look at some redevelopment plans. They've submitted demolition requests to take down the old firehouse, and we're waiting to get more information before we bring that formally to the Architecture Review Board.
So he has submitted a demolition request there?
He submitted the request. It's incomplete, but he submitted the request. So what we're really looking for is the concept of what it is he wishes to replace it with. So we're getting that materials together. But the ARB has canceled its meeting this month. It did not otherwise have agenda items. Payne Lane across the street, Stan Smith, who's the owner, I believe there's 2 parties that have engaged him about redevelopment of that site. That has been the stumbling block to getting a lot of the blight dealt with on that property. The council did ask, I believe it was last month and the month before, that we look into enforcement of our demolition by neglect ordinance. The town attorney has made some recommendations on some model ordinances we may want to adopt so that we have a process that makes sense in terms of addressing that blight. But there are some interests in that property, which is a good thing. What else do I have for you? The bridge, many of you, if you've been up to the bridge lately on Old Carolina, they're almost done with the bridge deck. And I believe, I wish Holly was here to correct me, but I believe at the turn of the year they expect to open the bridge to traffic. What will be done, they're still going to finish some of the ornamental lights and other fixtures that are on it, finish the multi-use trail, and I believe it will be open to traffic at some point, which will be a big relief in town. Town center plan. The ARB and the council considered amendments to the facade or improvements to the facade of the building, and they'll be refining those as they go forward, but the council has, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, talk about that they directed the architect to facilitate the move of the police department into the space next door where the very thing used to be. And so part of what driving the facade improvements was making sure all the doors and windows were all in the right place to facilitate that move. The site planning for the overall town center site, we've provided comments. The engineer is getting ready to respond to that. That was really the priority of this town center plan, was to develop the horizontal, fix the stormwater management problem, come back later, revisit the facade, and then go to the hair over. But the council has prioritized the order of those improvements. So other than that, we have a couple site plans outstanding for, again, the town center property, Signature Companies, which is behind a la carte catering on Route 15. The Masonic Lodge has turned into a site plan to expand some of their buildings. Haymarket Self-Storage still has a special use permit in the wings. And we do have a request for a small lot, single family, just a single house on Jefferson Street at the intersection with Fayette. So other than that, Mr. Chairman, sorry for the long-winded report. Again, next month I'll have a summary list so that I don't have to go through everything.
The only thing I want to ask about the council, we also submitted a COA for demo of the old police station if it doesn't sell, correct? Certificate of appropriateness to demo.
Yes, sir. That'll be part of, once the council adopts that plan in January, the request to the council or the ARB will be to approve the removal and or the demolition of the police station. Yes, sir.
Right. I just want the planning commission to know that the council is pushing forward. we're not going to let up on pushing forward.
The for sale date of the structure was, had to be removed from the property by April 2016 as to how it was advertised. So if that's not to occur, then the demolition would move forward after that. So I think it's a good plan. The Harbor plan is well vetted. I think it has a lot of buy-in from the community, and hopefully it'll be an exciting thing to see in the spring.
All right, any questions for Mr. Marchant? A lot going on.
Any plans for the current police station building?
We are considering some things with a potential tenant. Yes, ma'am. But one of the issues that we have is that we own a lot of buildings in town. So I know I don't want to misspeak for the council, but we've had multiple discussions about getting out of the landlord business. We inherited a lot of properties that consume a lot of time, but yes. All right, anything else? All right, I make a motion or do I have a motion that we adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we're done. Thank you.